Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. It has been a while, it feels, since I've done a DIY video, and this one I'm so excited for. I'm just really excited to start doing some seasonal DIYs again, and I've always been sort of torn on what you can do for spring. And I recently discovered, actually on TikTok, the world of felt flowers. So there's this specific account, and I'm probably not going to get this name right, but it's Ressa Kerbo Creative. I'll have that on the screen too and link down below if you're interested. But she puts out really cool tutorials on some nice looking flowers, and she also has a newsletter. So if you sign up for the newsletter, you get like a free pattern every week, which is really awesome. So from that, I was reintroduced to felt creations. We know that I love felt creations and making things with felt, and I have a ton of leftover felt from all the previous things that I've done. So I've actually spent $0 on felt for this project, and really the only things that I had to buy was like a new glue gun because I needed like a fine tip glue gun, some floral wire, and then a basket. So let me show you what we're actually going to be making today. So this is the inspo. The idea of a basket of flowers on the front porch just really struck me this year. It just looks so dreamy, and all of the ones that I saw had beautiful white tulips and like ferns and stuff like that. And I don't know if I'm gonna do ferns. We will see. I think that it would look nice, but I don't have them currently. But let's go through the supplies that we're going to use to create this basket full of tulips. So first you're going to need the basket itself. This is a basket that I got from Michael's, and it was about $20, but I'm pretty sure that it was on sale, as everything from Michael's usually is. And this basket is different. I had to get a new one for this because the back of it is completely flat, which means that it can sit flush on a door. And if you were to use like a rounded basket, I don't know how well that would go. And Michael's also had like some smaller versions in white, but yeah, ultimately I decided on this one. It's really pretty. Next up, you're going to need the actual felt pieces. So I'm using, again, scrap felt, and I'm making about 11 flowers today. And each flower consists of 7 white petals, or whatever color you're choosing, a 1x1 square of yellow felt, and then 2 leaves. Now the pattern actually has a much smaller leaf shape, but tulips have larger leaves, and they're not like the leaf shape that I came up with is not the most hyper realistic leaf by any means, but I felt it was a little more realistic than what the pattern offered. And she even says that, you know, tulip leaves do not look like that. So I'm kind of going for realistic, but at the same time it's felt, and we all know that. So I don't know, I'm just kind of going with it. So you're also going to need a water soluble pen. So I ended up getting a new pen that has like a really fine tip on it so that I could have a little bit more precision on tracing out the pieces. So since I don't have a Cricut maker, Cricut makers can cut out felt, and I'm sure that most people do not have a Cricut maker and are going to do it the old-fashioned way like I did. So I actually just took my pattern piece that I printed off. I purchased it, I think it was like $1.99 from her website. I'll have that link down below too. And I actually just fake laminated it. I put tape on either side of it just to give it a little bit more structure, and I wrote down like 7 because I'm gonna need 7 petals, and then I just traced it off on sheets of scrap felt that I had. So I cut all of those out, which was very tedious. Like, definitely go turn on a show that you like or whatever else, a movie, and sit down and cut them all out. But I think that it took me about 30 minutes to cut 10 flowers, and then it was time to do the little leaves. The leaves are much faster, and then of course the squares. So I mentioned earlier that I got a new glue gun for this. So this is a fine tip glue gun, and it is also a high heat fine tip glue gun. I don't know if like the high heat really matters as much, but it kind of gives you a little bit more time to like mold the petal how you want to mold it. When you're cutting out your felt pieces, you're gonna want to have very sharp, precise scissors. So I have these snips from Fiskars. They're just, you know, Fiskars is like a pretty classic brand, and they have a very sharp edge, and they're relatively new, so they're very sharp, and so I was able to make these shapes look pretty good. Of course, again, if I was using like a Cricut, they would look even better. Next on our supply list is 18 gauge wire. This is actually like a pre-wrapped wire, which I thought would look a little bit better, but I don't know. I think in the end, it doesn't make that much of a difference. And then for top dressing the basket, I have some moss that I just had from another project that I haven't used yet, so I figured I would just use it on this project instead. And then my basket, I thought that I would use floral foam, but I don't have any floral foam. And instead of going out and getting floral foam, I think that I'm just going to stuff this paper bag in there, like 2 paper bags, and then see if that holds it nicely in place. We're just gonna have to see on that. It might start sinking, I don't really know. I don't know the long-term effects of that decision. So floral foam would be a great option. I've also considered lining this basket with fabric just so that you can't see like through the holes at the mechanics of what's going on underneath. But I think that the brown paper will blend in pretty well with the basket, so hopefully it shouldn't be an issue. Now that I've talked so much about prep work, we're gonna actually get into doing this. And I actually forgot to do this before I started filming, but I already pre-cut everything, so hopefully this will be quick. Some of my white felt pieces still have a little bit of the purple marker on them, and that's not a big deal. It's water soluble, so I'm just gonna put the ones that have purple in this water. You can't see it at all on the green, and I didn't use marker for the yellow, so I only have to do this for the white petals. Okay, now that all of our prep work is done, it's time to get started. So because this tutorial is actually by someone else, I'm gonna have her video on the screen too while I'm sort of talking through how to do this, because she is the ultimate source. She made the pattern, and I'm really just sharing how I'm doing it and my experience making this rather than doing like a full tutorial on the flower itself. So we're gonna grab our wire and we're going to grab our small square. And what we do now is we get our little detail scissors again, and we are going to cut basically a fringe into this piece. And you don't want it to go all the way to the end. You kind of want to leave a section at the top where we can put a bead of glue, because we're going to be twisting this around our wire. Next up, we're going to grab our wire, and I'm going to put a small line of glue on, like, let's say half of that piece of yellow fringe. And I'm going to put my wire on, and then you basically just roll this. And then once you've run out of glue, you finish off the piece with a little bit more glue. And then you finish rolling it. So you've made a little puff. And it is just very cute. This is the inside of the tulip. As you can see, you don't really see it unless you look down in, because from the front view, it looks like this. So it's one of those details that just kind of makes a little bit more of a hyper realism, in my opinion. It's not absolutely necessary, but I do think it makes it look really nice. So definitely do it. Okay, next up, we move on to the petals. Now the petals are interesting. You'll get it, it's fine. But you're gonna have the big section up here at the top, and then the skinny section at the bottom. So you're gonna put some glue at the bottom of that skinny section, and then you're going to wrap this just underneath that yellow tuft. Then you're just going to keep doing that with other pieces. And in her tutorial, she suggests, why am I having such a hard time saying that sentence? She suggests doing them across from each other, just so that they get like in the right symmetry. So you're gonna put 2 petals facing each other. We've got like a little V. Okay, then we're going to grab our next petal and we're going to put it adjacent. So now we're starting the next little across section. And then again with another petal on the opposite side. We're going to be taking our petals and we're going to put glue on the bottom outer edges. And then we're going to be sandwiching one petal on top of the other. And this is to create that cone shape that tulips often have. Once I finish this one, I will bring the camera up closer so that you can watch me make another one. Tulip cone all together. And now we're just going to glue on 3 more petals. And what we're gonna do is just put them directly behind another set of petals. So this one, you can see there's a little arch here. I'm just gonna put it right behind it. Okay, once you've done that, we're gonna fold it down and we're going to put glue on the sides and then press it up onto the tulip so that it is also stuck on there. And it'll look kind of like this. I realize that my tulip is white and that might be kind of hard to see the contrast there. But yeah, did my glue and now I'm basically just rolling it back up, and I can use my fingers from inside of the flower to just like pinch it in. Okay, so our flower is done and now we're going to do the leaves. So I have the shape that I made has a pointy edge and then a round edge, and I'm going to pull them a little bit further down on the stem. Again, just for like more of a realistic look, but if you were following the tutorial, the leaf would be like up here, which I don't think looks bad, but that's just not how tulips grow. So I just didn't do it that way. If you want to do it that way, that's totally fine. I fully support following the tutorial, but I just kind of went a little off book and I kind of want them to sit. Yeah, there we go. So I'm just squeezing this felt around the stem, and then I'm just gonna put some glue there and then squeeze it until it's dry. And then you're going to take your other leaf, and I put it down a little bit further just so there could be a little bit of dimension. And then I'm just gonna sandwich that first leaf into this new leaf. Okay, and there we go. There is my felt tulip. I am going to make 9 more of these, and once I'm done making all 9 of them, we will turn them into a little bouquet and make a really beautiful front door basket wreath. I'm so happy that I decided to do this. And as I'm working on this, the sun is coming out. Like, this was a video that I was planning on filming today because it's so dark today, and I just like needed something fun to do indoors because I can't work outside today. And now the sun is coming out and it just feels like the biggest hug, the biggest spring hug, you know? Okay friends, I have made my bouquet. They look so cute. Do they look extremely real? I don't think so. But they're cute and like I'm happy with them, and you can see the cute yellow insides. And I just think they're gonna look really nice in this arrangement. So now we get to start arranging. This is the part where, you know, there's no tutorial. I'm just kind of flying by the seat of my pants, as I tend to do in my DIYs and tutorials. So I've got my moss, but first I need to stuff this basket with my grocery bags. So I'm going to like rip this open so that it's like more pliable, I think. I'm just gonna like have pieces of it that I crinkle up and like shove into the basket. Yeah, you can't, I mean, you can see it through the holes, but it kind of just looks like brown paper, which that's exactly what it is, so that's fine. Okay, so putting the basket on my lap here, and I'm just gonna start putting these in here. And you know, this is a little bit hard because the paper isn't exactly like a super permeable surface, but oh yeah, I can like, if the wire was like a little bit higher of a gauge, I think it would be easier to like poke holes and like shove this in. But I am able, if I just like hold the wire, I am able to like kind of poke a hole. I don't know, I feel like this wire is gonna be more beneficial in the end, like when I have all of these in here and I can sort of direct them around where I want them to go. But yeah, for now I'm just kind of shoving them through the paper if I can. I've got them all in here. Now, I think that I want to like crinkle up the paper. I have another bag, so I'm gonna crinkle up a little bit more paper just to like hold them in place, kind of where I want. And of course, you know, there's the wire, so I can move them around as much as I want and like have them drape or whatever. But I also just want to create a surface for the moss to sit on, because if I was to put the moss in like in the current state, it would probably all sink to the bottom eventually, like especially if it gets wet. Like if this gets wet, I don't know how it's gonna go down, but like it is definitely going to get wet because I live in the Midwest and it's very wet in the springtime. So I will keep you updated on how it does like long term getting wet, but like I think the felt will be fine. The basket and the paper, I don't really know. We'll have to see. That is so cute. I feel like some of these need to be shorter. They're all the same length, which is a little bit not what I was going for. So I'm going to do some wire bending. I mean, it's fine that a lot of them are the same length, but I kind of want them, or let's say height. I kind of wanted a little bit more dimension, but I think maybe if later on I add ferns to it, that'll add some more dimension and change. Now I've got the moss, and this is basically just decorative. This is not really serving a purpose, although I guess if it rained, maybe the moss would absorb some liquid. I don't know. Oh, I am trying not to breathe that in. That is a not good smell. It's just like an earthy smell. It's not necessarily foul, but I don't like that. Okay, I think I've done it, you guys. That's pretty cute. I'm gonna go take this and put it on my front door and then like do some final arranging. And then I think we're done with this spring DIY. Thank you very much for following along with me on this tutorial and just adventure making this little thing. I think I definitely want to add in some fern or something like that, just to give it like a little bit more of something, maybe tie a ribbon around it. But I am really happy with how it turned out. I think it's so cute. So if you liked this DIY and you end up doing it, make sure that you tag me on Instagram. I will have my Dayla Creations Instagram on the screen so you can see it. And yeah, happy spring, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye.